All right, people, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music, or we could rename the channel Journey Talk. But yeah, we're talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, before I get going on this one, Ramos Hugo. Don't call it Hugo Ramos. It's actually Ramos Hugo. The great Josh Ramos on guitar and the amazing Hugo Valenti, who I'll be talking about coming up maybe today in a video. The album's called The Dream, came out like 2008. Why do I show you this? Well, this is really close to Journey. It's really close to Steve Perry sounding Journey music. It's a little more progressive than the Journey stuff, but if you give this a listen a few times through, also features the incredible keyboard work of Eric Rainio, who's just a great keyboardist and a nice man. I've spoken to him a few times, and he's just a good guy. And Hugo, too. And Josh. They're all just great human beings. Anyway, The Dream, courtesy of Frontiers, a very long time ago. If you find that, it's going to cost you some money if you want the CD. Speaking of money, Steve Perry has decided to withdraw his trademark lawsuit against his former bandmates, who went out on their own and decided, hey, we can make money on song titles, put them on coffee mugs and t-shirts and all kinds of gear, Journey stuff, right? Anyway, Perry said on January 4th, or at least through his attorney, that he's out. He has withdrawn his trademark lawsuit. Now, the timing of this is very interesting. With Neal and Jon fighting, and when I say fighting, folks, this is an all-out brawl between two guys who want control of the franchise. And they had basically made this incredible deal, the incredible deal actually for Steve Perry, to get him out during the time when they cracked the stone. The curse of Steve Perry. Some may say that that curse has now gone into overdrive, but here's my take on Steve Perry's withdrawal. I'm thinking that Steve Perry, based on what he's heard and seen lately, and don't think he doesn't know what's going on. I mean, you know, Steve Perry may pretend to not pay attention to what is happening with Journey, but Journey is his investment. Think of it like a stock, right? My stock went up today. They're out on the road again. They're touring. Arnell is sounding good. This is going to be a great tour. And now, you know, in the off season, the stock is beginning to crash. So Perry is paying attention. And he's thinking to himself, I don't like what one of these two guys is doing, or maybe he doesn't like what either one of them is doing. But to me, this was a clear overture to Neal Schon. And because one of the things that Team Cain has said here is that Neal Schon did this horrible thing by filing the trademarks against Steve Perry. Well, no, that was both of you guys who did that. You both had to agree. So that was either mis or disinformation. And the only reason I'm using those terms is because I hear them every day. You know, don't listen to that disinformation. Go to Walgreens. It's fine. Don't worry about people collapsing and so forth. Nothing to see here. You know, what was it? The dude from 8 is Enough just passed away at age 54. Cause of death unknown. Okay, so I went off on that tangent. How did I end up doing that? Anyway, folks, you got to pay attention to what's going on. And if you think I'm insensitive, this is one of the claims that I heard the other day, that I'm insensitive. The first thing I jumped to, the first conclusion I jumped to. No, it's not the first, but it's a conclusion. And people, if they really cared about humanity, they'd want to kind of stop this. So speaking of stopping things, I think Steve Perry just figured, look, this isn't, maybe financially, it's not worth him pulling the plug or pushing the plug in and saying, hey, I want to piece of this action, or I want you guys not to have this. I'm also thinking that maybe, things might get a little tight financially for these boys who are fighting it out. And Perry's like, I don't need to cause any more grief for these two guys. But clearly, with the 50th anniversary happening, you would think that Perry would want some goodwill between at least one of these guys and himself. And I'm thinking that he prefers Neal. And the reason I think he prefers Neal is because during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, he talked about, Perry is all about nostalgia. He looks back at his childhood. He looks back at his relationships. He meets Neal Schon and they write patiently together. And I think there's a certain degree of sentimental value there. And there is a personality conflict between Perry and Jon Cain. No question about it. There's something there. I don't know if it was because Jon made the phone calls or just, like Tommy Shaw complains about Dennis DeYoung, like, I just want to be happy. In other words, there's some kind of personality quirk there that drives Tommy Shaw over the edge. And he doesn't specify, just that Dennis is bossy and so forth and wants to take control of things and sounds like Barry Manilow, right? So anyway, getting back to the Journey saga, which is a little like the Styx thing in some ways, I'm thinking Perry just wants to show a little solidarity with Neal Schon. And look, Perry doesn't need the money. And maybe Perry's accountant got on it and said, hey, Steve, this ain't going to make you very much money anyway. Just let them have the trademarks. And also, with all of the chaos and tumult surrounding the Journey brand, Perry might want to add a little calm to everything and say, look, I don't want to be associated with these two guys who are fighting it out. People just think I'm in there and I'm not even a member of the band anymore. But my name comes up and people say, Perry's fighting with Schon and Cain. Cain and Schon are fighting. And, the whole thing is a mess. And, you've even got Steve Perry in the mix. And I'm thinking Perry just wants to live a quiet life and, again, monitor his investment. And this might be a way to kind of sort of balance things out between himself and the other two guys, but especially Neal Schon. I'm thinking this opens up more speculation. And Neal Schon, by the way, added to that when he said, hey, it's time to have that coffee. It's time to talk. And with the 50th anniversary, you never say never. It would be one of the great stories of 2023 if Steve Perry got up on stage with Journey and sang one song. Just one song, Steve. Unplug the stuff, go acoustic, do it in a new way, rework it. I'm thinking of all those things like the Eric Clapton Unplugged or Rod Stewart. Everybody was doing that like in the early 90s. They were unplugging everything. And it was really cool. I mean, I've never heard Journey unplugged before. It would be awesome. And get Perry up there and let him sing in whatever key he wants to sing in and make the world really happy, just for one song. And it would be epic, and it would be, mic dropping, internet breaking, all of the above. And it'd be a great way to bring some love back into Journey, because right now there is no love in Journey at all. There is a lot of angst and legal stuff going on and name calling and people's names on things that don't belong there. I mean, if that's true, right? And I've known about this for quite some time, and I never would spill the beans on something that you can't confirm. But if that's true, I don't care what side of this you're on. I don't care if you're a Trump fan, for instance, because I'm going to get some of that. I like Trump, and so I like these two people. Well, okay, sure. I don't do that anymore. I'm not tribal. if somebody's wrong, they're wrong, and you have to deal with it. And you have to own up to it and say, you know what? These people over here, that's not helping the cause of the guy who all these people supposedly still like. What was weird is I was driving by a house. I was telling my wife, close to where we go to church, and the house used to have all this Trump gear all over the place, and drove out on Sunday and went by the same property, and it was all DeSantis gear. So it's anecdotal, but things are changing. Things aren't what they were back in 2016, people. So yeah, we did politics. We did the thing. We briefly talked about that. By the way, was it DeMar, the football player? Unbelievable. That is the greatest thing, the power of prayer, folks, because that did not look good. But that is right now, I don't want to say cross your fingers, but keep praying. He has a full recovery. That is great news. That is great news. Now, I wonder if people, again, this is my insensitive side. I wonder if people are going to try to find out why that happened in the first place. Just throwing it out there. I mean, wouldn't we want to prevent that kind of pain, even in, the way that it went down, in the sense that, yeah, we had to all watch that on national TV, or some of it was live. Obviously, it was a live broadcast, and some people saw the thing when it happened in real time. But wouldn't we want to avoid that if we could? Kind of like, hey, if there's a cliff over here, you don't want to walk over that cliff. I don't see any cliff. You're a tinfoil hat wearing crazy man. Insensitive too. Keep saying insensitive. That's making it, even more of a mission that I'm going to have, because I think people need to know the truth. All right. So again, Steve Perry, I'm thinking it was a nice gesture, either for his brand or for his old friend, or just to get his name out of the news, because he didn't want to be associated with the back and forth between Neal and Jon. And if you're looking for some music that you haven't heard before, possibly that sounds a bit like Journey, here they are, Ramos and Hugo, The Dream, 2008. This is ancient. Hugo is in a famous band called Voyage, and I'll be talking about Hugo in a video, I think, coming up either today or tomorrow. I just have to do it. All right, people, thanks for watching. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, Patreon, $1 a month. Also, you can do memberships now on YouTube, and I will see you soon.